Hello friends, welcome to my channel Popcorn. Today, we're discussing a Malayalam mystery thriller drama film released in 2020. The story revolves around the film Anveshanam. Let's start with the video. The film opens with two people working in a company, sitting and talking. One person is visibly frustrated, and another person, named Sarma, suggests that talking to him might help. The frustrated person says that he has already told Sarma about the issues he's facing with the programming and that he can only do so much. Sarma suggests that if the person resigns, it could lead to a situation where the company may treat him poorly. The first person is concerned about this and discusses it with Sarma, while a second person mentions that Arvind is doing well but that he might leave the company for a new one if he resigns. Meanwhile, Arvind's wife, Kavitha, is talking on the phone with her parents. She informs them that Arvind is involved in a project in Chennai. After the conversation, Kavitha decides to call Arvind to discuss the project. On the other hand, Chirian is a nurse working in a hospital. He is seen dealing with an ill patient, ensuring they are cared for properly. Chirian's son, Ajju, is playing cricket with other kids, but when Ajju gets out, the other children tease him, leading to Ajju leaving the area upset. Later, a senior doctor named Ashok receives an emergency case involving a young boy who has fallen from a height. Chirian is called to assist with the emergency at the hospital. The boy turns out to be Arvind and Kavitha's son, Arjun. Arjun is admitted to the hospital, and the situation is critical. The police are involved as they investigate the case. Detective Davis is called in to discuss the matter, and he learns from a constable that a child abuse case has also been reported. Davis discusses the case with Latha, a senior inspector. Latha finds out that no such cases have been registered at the hospital. Latha then decides to investigate further with the help of Davis. As the investigation unfolds, Latha and Davis work together to understand the situation. Eventually, the story shifts to a flashback showing that Ajju was admitted to the hospital. During observation, Arjun's hand was injured by someone, and Chirian noticed this. The senior doctor Ashok also examines the case and suggests that treatment should start immediately. The story then moves forward with Arjun receiving treatment. Latha realizes that there may be some misinformation or miscommunication. Chirian is also seen leaving the hospital after the incident, with the police continuing their investigation. The person who provided the information is asking about how many hours it took. To this, Davis replies that it was around 8 hours. He then immediately suspects something and goes to the hospital with Dr. Kumar and Shreya. Shreya immediately starts looking at the case and sees that the child fell from the stairs and got injured. Shreya questions how this is a child abuse case. Davis says that this case was referred to him by the in-house doctor, Gautam, and adds that Gautam is asking to be let out. Then, Davis goes with Gautam to check the CCTV footage at the hospital. Later, Gautam, accompanied by another constable, goes to check the CCTV footage. The constable recognizes Gautam and informs him that he saw a person stuck in traffic and that this person had a child with him, who fell from the stairs. The constable had cleared the traffic and sent the person to the hospital. Gautam starts the investigation. Arvind asks how Gautam knows the child, and Gautam says that he and the child live in the same apartment. Gautam then asks Shreya about the child's fall and how it happened. Gautam explains that he saw the child fall from the stairs and that he had already arrived when Kavitha came. Later, Gautam and Shreya took the child to the hospital. Shreya, trying to reach Arvind, had struggled because of phone issues, and when he reached him, Arvind explained the situation. Arvind says he received a message from Kavitha and came immediately. Shreya asks why Arvind had switched off his phone, to which Arvind explains that there were issues at the office and his phone had run out of charge. Shreya inquires further about the issues at the office. Arvind mentions that he was running a program called Meet the Legends and had faced problems with it. He explains that his senior took him out of the program without informing him, and another person was talking about it. Arvind explains that his boss took him out because he found the program boring. Shreya, learning this, calls Arvind's boss and gets the number. Meanwhile, Arvind is contacted and he speaks to a staff member at the hospital about the child abuse case. Shreya realizes that Dr. Ashok had found marks on the child's body. Dr. Ashok suggests that the child was a victim of abuse. Arvind agrees but says that he could not confirm this with certainty. Shreya is now worried and confused about the whole situation. Dr. Ashok is asked about the child abuse case, and he admits he is not sure but suspects it might be abuse. Shreya then informs Arvind that his senior officer will be coming to assist in solving the case. Shreya then questions why Arvind lied and fears that the truth about the child's condition will come out. Arvind eventually discloses the details about the child abuse case and the situation unfolds further. Ashok suggests that the old man was a victim of child abuse, which Arvind also suspects. However, Gautam misunderstands Ashok's words. Impassable family situations, known to Arvind for a long time, are not the norm for such families. After some time, Ashok performs treatment on the old man but the old man eventually dies. Gautam sees this and informs Kavitha that the boy has died. Hearing this, Kavitha is shocked and confused about how this happened. The story then shifts back to Kavitha running out of the room and calling Shreya. Shreya comes inside and starts checking the old man. Ashok continues with the treatment but eventually, the boy dies. Seeing this, Kavitha, Arvind, and others are devastated, and Kavitha loses consciousness due to the shock. Later, Shreya asks Dr. Ashok if there was any possibility of child abuse in this case. Ashok admits that he can't say for sure. Shreya then contacts his senior officer to discuss the case. His senior suggests getting help from Dr. Ferris for solving the case. Shreya then asks why Arvind lied about the situation. Hearing this, Arvind feels a bit frightened. Meanwhile, Davis asks to see Shreya's mobile phone. Shreya checks the mobile and realizes that the information about child abuse had been given to the police. Shreya informs Davis about this. Kavitha, on the other hand, sees Shreya and questions him about the details. Shreya explains how the situation unfolded. Kavitha, upon realizing the circumstances, tells Shreya that her husband had abused the child, leading to the old man's condition. This revelation shocks Kavitha and she questions how this all happened. Shreya tells Kavitha that her husband was admitted to the hospital and that it is crucial to understand the truth about what happened. He advises her to stay calm as the police will arrive soon. Shreya reassures Kavitha that she will be safe and tells her that she should be honest about what happened. Kavitha is reassured that there's no need to worry as the police will arrive shortly. Shreya tells her that she will be safe and that she should be honest with him. Kavitha responds that she has already said everything and insists that nothing like that happened. Despite this, Shreya tells Kavitha that there's some doubt, so he will inform the doctors. However, the doctors don't seem to take the matter seriously. Shreya, feeling frustrated, informs the police that child abuse has occurred. Meanwhile, Kavitha emerges and says that the old man is in serious condition. Shreya then takes the old man to the hospital. During this time, Gautam is seen in the parking area, and Shreya joins him. Shreya informs Gautam about the old man's condition and says that they have brought him to the hospital. Kavitha, on hearing this, questions Shreya about having seen Gautam in the parking area. Kavitha asks if Shreya is sure that Gautam was in the parking area. Kavitha's anxiety increases as she questions Shreya's certainty. Shreya assures her that Gautam was indeed seen in the parking area. Kavitha, troubled, is told by Shreya to stay calm and that the police will arrive soon. Kavitha is advised to not worry and that the investigation will proceed. Shreya later goes to Arvind and discusses the situation. Arvind is deeply troubled and feels he should have done something more. He is devastated about his son's death. Shreya then questions Arvind, asking why he lied about his whereabouts. Arvind admits that he was at school and had called the principal to discuss the old man's behavior. Arvind explains that he went to school because the old man had been misbehaving. The principal had threatened to expel him if he continued this behavior. Arvind expresses his frustration and anger about the situation, stating that he had to go back to his office and then to the club before returning home. Kavitha, who was unaware of the old man's condition, is now informed by Arvind about the old man's admission to the hospital. Arvind explains how he had gone to school and had called the principal, leading to the old man's misbehavior being addressed. Kavitha feels betrayed and angry at Arvind and realizes the situation is more complicated than she initially thought. Arvind tells Kavitha that he is very upset and troubled by the situation, and admits that the truth of the matter is serious. He expresses his distress and concerns to Kavitha, highlighting the gravity of the situation. Devi says she understands the situation and tells Arvind that after hearing everything he said, she feels that Arvind is hiding something. She mentions that a forensic specialist is on their way to check the old man's cause of death. Devi urges Arvind to be truthful about everything that happened so that he can be safe. She advises him to write down his statement on the paper she provided, stressing the importance of honesty this time. Devi warns Arvind that if he does not reveal the truth, he won't be able to get any help from them. She informs him that the police will arrive soon and that everyone is waiting. Devi and Arvind then discuss the situation further. Arvind is reminded of the urgency of resolving the case by tonight. Arvind realizes that his actions will now be under scrutiny, and there's a possibility that Kavitha could be arrested due to the suspicions. Devi expresses her concern that the police might arrest Kavitha since she admitted to the old man being in the hospital. She tells Arvind to ensure that Kavitha and Gautam are not arrested. Arvind argues that it is impossible to prevent Kavitha from being arrested. Gautam suggests that a way to protect Kavitha might be to prepare the old man's body carefully to avoid suspicion. He advises Arvind to act quickly to resolve the situation and ensure the safety of Kavitha. Arvind is frustrated and feels helpless, saying that his son's death cannot be undone and that he is prepared to face jail. Gautam reassures Arvind that if he does what needs to be done, Kavitha's future can still be safeguarded. He emphasizes the importance of ensuring that Kavitha and his daughter are not implicated. Devi, Gautam, and Arvind discuss the issue in silence. Gautam and Arvind decide to take the old man's body to the hospital discreetly, making sure that it doesn't cause suspicion. They prepare to handle the situation quietly, with Arvind carrying the body down the stairs carefully. Gautam says that Arvind should carry the old man's body down the stairs and ensure that it doesn't cause suspicion. Arvind agrees to this plan and realizes that the old man's body will only be moved a few steps. After seeing this, Chirayan tells Gautam that this is not enough to resolve the situation, and insists on taking further action. Arvind expresses his distress and admits that he is ready to face Gal, stating that he can no longer bear the pain. Gautam warns him that if he goes to Gal, no one will take care of his daughter. Arvind, recognizing this, becomes emotional and decides to carry the old man's body down the stairs as planned. After placing the body in the room, Arvind meets with Kavitha. Kavitha threatens to tell the police everything if Arvind doesn't cooperate, and warns that they will imprison her if she reveals the truth. Arvind, knowing that Kavitha has no other option, agrees to follow Gautam's plan to avoid her arrest. At the same time, the forensic doctor arrives at the hospital to examine the old man's body. He checks the reports and realizes that there is a significant issue. The doctor notes that due to a delay in treatment, the old man's condition worsened, leading to his death. The forensic doctor, Ashok, informs that the delay in treatment was a major error that led to the old man's demise. As the truth emerges, Arvind, Gautam, and Kavitha become aware of the gravity of the situation. Arvind is in shock and threatens to harm Dr. Ashok. Realizing the seriousness of the matter, Arvind decides to take Kavitha and his daughter and leave the hospital. He resolves to handle the situation and move forward with his life, despite the challenges. He says that there are no complaints, and that life must go on. Meanwhile, Lata feels that something is wrong with the family based on her observations. However, Dr. Ferris reassures her that if any issues arise with them, they will face the appropriate punishment, as they have already suffered greatly. Dr. Ferris explains that the family has suffered enough punishment for their child's death, and that it is crucial to understand the situation fully. Lata and Gautam see that Arvind is very distressed. They observe Arvind carrying the old man's body down the stairs, and later placing it inside the aquarium. Kavitha, who is alone at home, watches from a distance and realizes that the body must be treated properly. Gautam and Lata take the old man's body to the aquarium and place it in a position that is not obvious. Afterward, Kavitha, frustrated with the old man's condition, hits him. This causes the old man to lose his balance and fall onto a table, losing consciousness. Kavitha, terrified of what has happened, tries to revive the old man, but he is already unresponsive. She then takes the old man to the hospital, where she meets Gautam in the parking area. Gautam, along with Kavitha, decides to go to the hospital. Later, Kavitha explains to Gautam and Arvind what really happened. She reveals the truth to the three policemen. However, due to the treatment delayed, the old man had already died. Arvind then presents his confession statement to the authorities, and the case is closed.